Freelancing looks a little bit different in paper than what a lot of people show out there. For example, there are a lot of videos out there on how to make $1,000 a day, on how to make a $10,000 business in a month, and then this is what you should be doing to get ahead of life and so on. But the reality is that freelancing is a little bit more complicated than that. I'm not saying this to discourage you, but I'm saying this to prepare you for a career in freelancing if that's what you want to do. For example, myself now, I am able to travel the world. Of course, I'm not going to luxurious places, but I'm able to travel the world and provide for me and for my girlfriend and have enough money to figure out any emergency if that comes to happen. This did not happen in the first week, neither did I get it in the first year, and it took me a little bit more time than I thought it would. The reality is, when I started freelancing a long time ago, around 7 years ago, I thought it was gonna be like everyone else was saying on their videos, right? I thought I was gonna get that peak. I thought I was gonna start my own agency. I started cold calling. All of that energy, all of that confidence kind of went away in week 2, not because I wasn't willing to work. It was because I thought things were gonna happen a lot faster than they actually do. The thing here is that things don't necessarily happen when we want them to happen. Things take time. Take nature, for example. Everything that you see around here, nature takes time to grow. Nature is slow, and so are some things in life as well. Things are slow and they take time to develop. So think of taking the time of nature. Take things slow. Now, let me take you here with me real quick. So, there is a big deal, which is when you start doing these things in desperation. And a lot of the times when you're desperate, you make mistakes that you wouldn't make, and you make decisions that you wouldn't take because you just want that quick win, that quick money. And there is nothing wrong with that, right? The thing here is, a lot of the times when we start broke, that's how I started before 7 years ago. I started broke. I had very little money and I wanted to make $5,000 in a month because I was desperate and I needed that money to survive. I made a lot of mistakes. And hear me out, mistakes are good, but there are some mistakes that you can definitely avoid if you are not coming from a place of desperation. And here's the thing with desperation: you want to do things, you want to progress, you want to get that job, but because you need that money, you're gonna take some very bad jobs because you need that money. And look, that happened to me not really that long time ago. I needed the money, and sometimes you need the money. But whenever you are in the mindset of desperation, guess what happens? You're gonna take some jobs that you were really not happy with it. The client is a pain in the ass. The job is not really what you want to be doing. And yes, there are times that you're gonna have to do things that you don't want to do. The thing is that most times when you're desperate, you're just gonna regret a lot because the decision doesn't come from a place of knowing, it comes from a place of need. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the more you can avoid coming from a place of urgency, the more likely is that you're going to enjoy the process and that you're going to be doing this for a long time, for the long haul. And that is what I want to focus here on this channel, doing things on the long run, because it took me so long to realize, and every now and again I have to go back to myself and tell me, hey, remember, things are supposed to be taken slow. There's so many things clouding our judgment nowadays, and we can't not let them take control over our minds, over our decisions. So take things rather slow, because that's the way of nature. Now, here's something I want to share with you in case you were wanting to start your freelancing career. Work on your communication, because more often than not, I get jobs because of how I communicate with people rather than how good my portfolio looks. Because at the start, you don't necessarily have a massive portfolio, and you don't necessarily even know how to make a portfolio. Yes, there are thousands of videos out there on how to make a good portfolio, and they really help. I've watched tons of those so I could make my own portfolio. But I can assure you that most of the jobs, 95% of the jobs that I get, is because I am sharing my personality. Share a little bit of your personality. It's not about the skills that you have, because at the end of the day, yes, people want results, And yes, we want to work for big companies, but people make choices. Person that you're talking to is going to make the choice whether to hire you or hire someone else. A lot of the times is how well you can communicate with that person. For example, every now and again, instead of saying, hey, I look forward to chatting with you, I say, hey, why don't we schedule a virtual coffee date so we can talk a little bit more about the opportunity, the job, and also get to know each other to see if we are a fit or not. It is very, 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 very important that you guys are a fit. So personality matters a lot. Your personality and the personality of the person that you wanted to work for. If the person that you want to work with, whether they're gonna pay you good money or not, if the person is hard to deal with, 99.9% of the times, I don't want to work with them. And I refuse the jobs and I don't want to work with them because I don't want my life to be made harder just because some person is hard to deal with. So it is very important that you focus on personality, that you focus on being yourself, being original, and communication goes a long way. Communication goes a lot further than skills itself. Skills take you only to a certain point. But if you know how to communicate and then you build your skills, wow, the sky is really the limit. I'm gonna lay my jacket down over here real quick so we can have this chat. So a lot of the times I get asked how to actually start with freelancing and if I would advise the person just to quit everything and go all in on freelancing. And my answer usually is if you are trying to burn out and if you're trying to not do it for the long run, then yeah, then do that. If you want to do it for the long run, you need either of two things. A big safety net, like 6 months or 12 months of expenses paid, then yeah, I think that's you can do it. You can quit everything and give it a shot. I wouldn't do it if I had it only for like 3 months, for example, because the likelihood that you're gonna get burned out is very, very big. And the other one is, are you willing to take a part-time job on service job or let go of a little bit of hours in your job to try to pursue this on the side? The answer is yes. Then I think it would be a good idea. I was only able to be successful in my freelancing career because I wasn't really desperate for that money. So if you have a safety net, if you have an emergency fund that you can fall back onto, I think that's a good thing and you won't make stupid decisions because of that. And number two, if you are willing to take a job on the side, a part-time job that covers all of your expenses and lets you save some money on the side and then pursue a freelancing career on the side, then I would say, yeah, do that. Oops, something moved here in the woods and I don't know what it is. And I'm saying this because I consider myself successful in the freelancing business because I am able to do most things that I want to. Of course, I have to do some planning and of course I'm not throwing money in the air, but the main reason that I can do this is because I had some time, I had some work on the side and I was able to learn instead of making stupid decisions that I would later regret. So to close this video, I just want to say that freelancing works best when you're not desperate. By the way, my girlfriend made me promise I wasn't gonna wear this in the video, but it's getting a bit too chilly here for me not to wear it. Anyway, the thing that I learned that is very, very important, and I said it before, I'll say it again, increase the goalpost. If you say, oh, I want to make $5,000 at the end of this year, well, it is possible. I'm not gonna say that it's impossible, but it's very unlikely. And I'm not saying this to discourage you. I'm saying this to actually encourage you to stay in this for the long run. Yes, there were some months that I made $5,000-6,000, and there were other months that I made $1,000, and there were other months that I made 3, 4. So it all depends. And that's why I say to keep the goalpost for a bit longer, because you don't want these things to discourage you. Sometimes it's easy to take a step back and look things in another way so you're not in another desperation loop. Before ending up the video, I just want to say that these are all based on my own experiences and what I've seen to succeed the most, not only with me, but with the people that I work with as well. You know, things take time and it's not necessarily like that for everyone, but I actually rather spend a little bit more time in doing things a little bit more cheerfully, enjoying a little bit more than to beat everyone in a race that I didn't even want to be a part of anyway. Yeah, these are all my experiences. I'm not saying that this is exactly what's going to happen to you, but I wanted to share a little bit on how I see it, and I hope that this helps you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope there were some good lessons here. I hope you tune in for the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to. Otherwise, I'll see you again next time. Much love. Mwah.